whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Heck yeah, it is. It is Wednesday. Only Wednesday. August 25th, 2021. This is the Monty Show. Thank you for being here. Hey, everybody listening on the audio podcast, God bless you and yours and mine, because you are absolutely crushing it. You can find this show. Just go to Google. Search The Monty Show, M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. You will find all of the audio greatness, whether you listen on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, you name it, Stitcher Radio, you name it, we are there. It's The Monty Show, M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. And, of course, you watch this show on YouTube at themontyshow.com because you're trying to win a Traeger smoker and Ironwood 650.
Ironwood.
My wood is made of iron. We're going to give that away when we get to 2,500 simps. Oh, wait, I mean subs. Let's see where we are now, Jake.
Okay.
1654 is where we are now. So we had a good day yesterday. Incrementally slow.
Meteoric.
Well, I mean, meteoric or, mediocrely. Picking up followers, subscribers, likers, subscribers on YouTube. Hit subscribe, take a picture, you're subscribed, tag us on social media like Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, yes. And just tag The Monty Show. M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. Jake is SLC Supercars. Tag us both, and you are entered to win the Traeger. By the way, we made some progress on the clothing this week. Everybody's asking us for merch for the radio show. We're working on it. We are working on it. So it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we'll update you on that. Should have more on that as the week comes to an end. But we need to talk about this unholy alliance in college football. Somebody got some splaining to do because I have no idea what this is about. The Pac-12, ACC, and the Big Ten got together yesterday and said, we're going to form an alliance.
You have a deal.
The SEC sucks. They may have the best talent, the best coaches, the best teams, the most titles. Everybody likes them. Nobody respects us. But damn it, this alliance is unholy. Now, what this says is that we are going to align ourselves academically and schedule-wise. And we're going to try and freeze out the Sabinator and all those folks over.
Sabinator.
The Sabinator over there in the SEC. The only problem with this unholy alliance, I don't know why I'm calling it an unholy alliance, because it's a farce. It really is embarrassing. It's not contractual. There's nothing on paper. It is all on their word. They trust each other. We don't need signed contracts because we're in love. They trust each other. It's all on their honor system that they're going to try and screw the SEC as one body. And Jake, I just think there's no way this has any impact whatsoever.
Yeah, the biggest problem I have with this is there's nothing on paper. There's nothing. It's a non-binding agreement, which basically means that let's say randomly the Pac-12 doesn't want to be in this, what you're calling an unholy alliance.
Unholy alliance.
Unholy. If they want to pull out.
Okay, listen, guy, this is a family show.
My bad. Sorry, guys.
This is a family show. Wrap it up.
Sorry, my bad. Anyway, if they want to remove themselves from the situation.
Withdraw?
Yes.
If they'd like to withdraw.
If they'd like to withdraw from the unholy alliance that doesn't exist and never happened, they can do that at any time. I just think this is a gimmick. Like, this is one of those things. To me, when I first heard of this, I was like, yeah, this is classic, Pac-12 stuff right here. This is, hey, we're gonna keep Larry Scott employed way too long, even though he's killing our conference. We're gonna get into some alliance that doesn't exist because that makes us feel a little better. We think that somehow by partnering with the Big 12 and the ACC that somehow this is going to help us. And I'm just sitting here saying at the end of the day, the SEC doesn't need any of you guys. And that's your problem. That's the problem. The SEC has done such a good job of developing brands and programs that nobody gives a damn about you at the end of the year. Seriously. When was the last time we were like, yeah, wow, man, college football playoff, who's going to be the Pac-12 team this year? Nobody gives a damn at the end of the year, and that's what this is all about. And so to me, these three conferences are going to band together and do their level best to make life difficult on the SEC, and that's just what it's going to be. And I guess I get it, but at the same time, I just can't help but feel like this is a gimmick. You're nothing's on paper, and it's the honor system. When has the honor system ever gone well? Whether we're talking COVID-19 vaccines or anything else, it never goes well. So that's where I kind of come down on this whole thing.
Yeah, and listen, I think what really matters here is these institutions of higher learning and greatness all understand that college football is broken. And that's the bottom line. What this alliance shows you is that college football is completely dysfunctional and broken. And there's not a quick, easy fix for that because there's so much money being made in TV and marketing deals. It's very difficult to unwind those deals. So when you are a school like a BYU, for instance, who's trying, by all accounts, to join a P5 conference, to have a seat at the table, you're really looking at this situation, you're like, well, what the heck was that? Right? And you sip your caffeine-free, cold beverage, and you're like, I don't know what to do if we're BYU, other than let's just keep kicking ass and schedule all of these unholy alliance institutions. Because frankly, does BYU really need to join a conference if this is how conference life is going to be? And I know the knee-jerk reaction is going to be, well, Monty, they're not Utah because we eat meat and we're in the Pac-12.
That's enough of that crap.
We're going to win 10 straight. Kalani's a traitor. Yes, it is. Kalani's a traitor. Right? I get it.
Camp Kalani.
You're in a conference. But let me ask you this. Who is closer to playing for a spot in the playoff last year, Utah or BYU?
Huh.
BYU had their destiny in their hands. They blew it. They lost. Right? But BYU, I don't know if they need to get involved in this disaster, Jake, that is realignment right now, and
it's definitely a dumpster fire. I mean, that's what this is. I mean, it is out on the reservation. It is like, I mean, it is just a mess. And I think that the one advantage, that BYU, absolutely has in this situation is being independent. You can schedule whoever you want. And Tom Homos, we freaking bring up every time we talk BYU athletics on this show. He's a genius at getting scheduling done, especially in the football program. I mean, the fact that, we can pull the schedule up, but the fact that, you're scheduling the likes of, LSU and, you've got all these huge programs on your schedule, like that's big. Nobody expects you to win those games. What's going to happen the one year you win those games? Uh-oh, you're in the college football playoff, and Utah's not. Funny how that works, isn't it? So yeah, right now, to me, if you're BYU, yes, you absolutely want to get into a conference, but man, it sure is nice to be sitting as an independent when all this mess is going down. I mean, I would not want to be in the Pac-12 right now or someone leading one of those schools because this is not a good look.
Yeah, and I just ask, how do you fix what's going on in college football? Because Texas and Oklahoma did what any institution would do. There is not a college football program in this country that would not accept an invitation today, right now, from the Southeast Conference. If you could get in, wouldn't you? Absolutely you would, right? And I think that's the issue, is that the mismanagement of these conferences has gone on for so long. You look at the Pac-12 alone.
Decades.
With Larry Scott and before even the current incarnation and expansion that landed Colorado and Utah into the Pac-12, you look at the way these conferences had run their business and grown their brands, they were completely incompetent. So the groundwork for the SEC to continue to grow and continue to win and continue to dominate financially and recruiting and talent and coaching and national championships and access to the national championship, that's the thing that stands out to me most. This, Jake, in my opinion, is not a new problem. I look at the Big Ten. I mean, you have one team in Ohio State that's pretty much played in the playoff as much as really anybody has.
Yeah.
And it's meant nothing to the conference because it's teams like Michigan that have been a complete disappointment. Penn State's been a complete disappointment when it comes to being a national power.
Yep.
And I understand some of that is the Sandusky situation and totally get that. But it doesn't matter why. You've either won or you haven't. And I look throughout the Big Ten and I just ask myself, who's the team that can compete with an Alabama? Because I'm telling you right now, it's not Ohio State.
No.
Not right now, it's not. And I look at the way that the SEC is coming up. The bottom half of the SEC is likely better than the top half of the Pac-12. It's just the bottom line. I mean, I look at the ACC and I understand that Trevor Lawrence and, you know, a lot of ATN, a lot of guys are out of that program now. But Clemson's the only team in that conference, in my opinion, is just going to reload.
Yeah.
And I just don't see balance in depth. And at the end of the day, when I look at the Pac-12, it's going to be the same couple of teams. It's going to be Oregon and Washington. Arizona State and Arizona are non-factors. UCLA a non-factor. USC and Utah, you know, this is why I say Utah needs to win a Pac-12 championship today, right now. It is imperative that happen because it brings you more money. It brings you more recruits. The Pac-12 needs something good to happen. Like they are so desperately mediocre.
Yeah.
And they've wasted so many opportunities. The Pac-12, when it expanded and Utah became part of that system, had the world by the balls, man. Like, you just felt like this thing was
amazing.
And it's never gone anywhere. And you had the Pete Carroll years at USC, rocked by scandal, torn apart.
Scandal.
Reggie Bush doesn't have a Heisman. You know, like, and USC's never recovered. You know, to Sarkisian's alcoholism. You know, like at Chip Kelly going to UCLA. Well, everybody's calling UCLA a dark horse. Well, dark horses don't win anything. Show me that you're a legitimate program again. Show me that Chip Kelly can do at UCLA what he did at Oregon, because he never has. And I doubt ever will. It is so frustrating to me that the Pac-12 continues to just be a ball of mediocrity.
Yeah, and I think that's just a product of a lack of leadership and good leadership. You know, I look at this whole situation and I say, man, like, what is it, like 46 institutions are part of this alliance, right?
No, I think isn't it like 41 or something?
Yeah,
I think
it's
40,
like
40 plus institutions.
It's 40 plus institutions, and all I'm sitting here saying is, who's the one in the driver's seat? Because when you've got too many cooks in the kitchen, you never end up cooking anything. You never end up getting anything done because there's too many opinions on what should be done. And to me, that's what this is. It's almost like these schools came together and said, well, the SEC made their move. We don't have a move. We're screwed. So why don't we just put together a fake alliance as though we're a bunch of friends sitting in a treehouse, and we'll just call that a day. Like, that's what this is to me. And I don't mean to be harsh on this, but at the end of the day, what really is this? Like, this is nothing that you don't have. Okay, you're going to help each other. Weren't you already doing that? Weren't you already under the radar trying to schedule against, like to avoid the SEC? Weren't you already trying to outperform that conference?
But again, haven't we changed the way that college football works scheduling-wise? Why does BYU schedule the way they schedule? Why did BYU leave the mountain? Because there was no promised land at the end of the rainbow, staying in the mountain.
But I think BYU's scheduling advantage is what these conferences want to be. They want to have, the best schedules in the nation. And the only way to do that
is that true, though? Wait, hold, and I'm not, hang on one second. When you say they want to have the best schedules in the nation.
Yeah. I think they do.
So you're saying if you want the best schedules in the nation, you're going to form an alliance against the SEC? Don't you need the SEC? If you're Clemson, Don't you need access to Georgia and Alabama?
I mean, you would think, yeah, but at the end of the day, that's not like.
Do we already forgotten the times when Pete Carroll took his USC Trojans to Auburn? Have we forgotten the kickoff classics every year where USC, as a national title favorite, would go out east and beat somebody's ass?
Yes, I think a lot of people have forgot about that time. Yes.
Because I'm telling you, this unholy alliance, this BS that happened yesterday, which, by the way, again, isn't a contract. They're doing it on the honor system. We trust each other. Yeah, that's what they all say until they don't trust each other anymore.
Y'all about to fuck this up.
Yeah, if they ever trusted each other. You're building an alliance that's going to damage any opportunity you have to really play for a national championship. Because at the end of the day, most of these institutions have schedules for 5 to 7 years built out. You have a hole here or a hole there. Okay, I can fill that gap with a BYU, a Notre Dame. How do you think that BYU ends up playing Notre Dame, Miami? All these Pac-12 teams every year. You think that's an accident? That's relationships. If you don't have a relationship with Nick Saban at Alabama, with Kirby Smart at Georgia, if you can't schedule Florida and the top teams in the Southeast Conference.
Didn't they just schedule Miami as well?
Yes. Just don't play football. Because if you think you're going to be good enough scheduling Georgia Tech every year, ask Notre Dame how that works out. If you think you're going to be good enough scheduling, at least at this point we get Oregon State, the Beavers. Okay, great. The Beavers are coming to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech? Yeah, hey, let me make sure I don't fucking watch that game. Right? I'm not watching that. I'm are you kidding? This alliance is a joke. Yeah, this alliance is a joke. This alliance is a joke. So how do you fix it?
Yeah, I think this question, when you really start to boil this down, is what is on the whole, including the SEC, the nationwide, what does the NCAA have to do to bring all these institutions together and make a more seamless system? Because that's always been my issue with college football. I feel like, every single year, the usual suspects are in the college football playoff, and you've got all these other schools nationwide who never even have a sniff, And to me, it's like you're saying, oh my God, Alabama is the best team in the country, and they won a national championship, and they haven't played even a quarter of the teams in the country. Yet we're crowning them national champions, and that's the issue I've always had. I can't for the life of me understand why we get what is it, 64 teams in the bracket in March Madness, isn't it? You get all these teams in March Madness who are playing all year long to get into some massive tournament to try to win a national championship. At least then I can say, wow, cool. Nowhereville University had a chance. Now, they weren't good enough. They didn't get the job done.
Steph Curry at Davidson had a chance because in basketball, one guy can win the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
In football, you've got 8,671 recruits that you have to develop, train. This is never going to work, man. If you want to talk about fixing college football, you need conference expansion. You need more teams to have access to the national championship, and you need kids to continue making money.
Yeah.
It is that simple. Because if teams like BYU does not have access to the national championship, because let's be honest, even if you're in a P5, if a team like BYU has more access to the national championship than Oregon State, Arizona, think of the bottom feeders. Does BYU, this is a legitimate question. I'm not trying to play the rivalry or, red versus blue. Doesn't BYU have just as much access to the national championship as Utah?
Yes.
The road's much more difficult. The process is much more difficult.
But they have access.
But BYU's got just as much access, right? Now, what they have to do to get that access is kind of a ball breaker. You got to schedule up and beat everybody, which is almost impossible to do when you play the schedule BYU does. But if candies and nuts and my aunt were my uncle, how easy is it for Utah to go undefeated in the Pac-12?
Not. I mean,
Apparently.
it's easier.
Yeah, well, easier, but not very easy.
Yeah.
Or they'd have done it already.
Yeah.
Right? What I'm saying is it's not easy to win a conference championship, and it's not easy to go undefeated as an independent. And my point is that you, again, have to recognize the Pac-12 has very little clout in college sports.
Yeah.
They've been terrible at basketball for how many years now? I mean, the Pac-12 is an incredible disappointment. If we're
year after year.
And honest to goodness, if we're being really honest about the Pac-12, like, what have they done that's been like, oh, man, whew, look at the Pac-12. That swimming championship.
I mean, they compete in baseball
What?
a little bit, but nobody pays attention to baseball. It's not a big revenue generator.
We care about basketball and football.
Yeah.
And when soccer's on and, like Greg Wrubell's calling BYU soccer games, all right, cool, man. All right. Yeah. When's football start? Right? Like, that's who we are. That's who we are, man.
Yeah.
And the Pac-12 has been a huge disappointment.
Yes.
They frankly, anybody outside of the SEC and a couple of teams here and there, Clemson, Florida State for a minute,
Nah.
but other than that, I just look up and down the landscape of college football. This ain't rocket science.
No, it's not.
It is as simple as the SEC is what everybody wants to be, and nobody knows how to get there.
Yep.
So let's get some of your comments because we always appreciate you guys participating in the show. Brylark, James Knight, Edgar Garcia, what's up? Ricky Martinez says, I'm a be D1 quarterback for Clemson. Okay, Ricky, good luck. Let us know how that goes. Make sure you do lots of squats, all right? Okay, cool. Cody Strickland says Biden handling Afghanistan situation is horse poop. Well, they have.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, haven't they rescued like 70,000 people and there hasn't been one single American death?
Afghanistan.
That's terrible. I'm not saying that Joe Biden's gotten this right, but no, we'll talk about this at the Cody.
Afghanistan.
Cody,
We've talked about this.
behave.
Fire and fury.
Spencer Morgan says the NCAA needs to be dissolved. Don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Cody says, anyway, good morning. Good morning to you too. Neville93 says, what's new on the Jazz? Nothing, except they have the easiest schedule in the NBA this coming season. Other than that, nothing. Giggity says, morning, boys. Giggity, how are you?
Hello.
Muhammad Amira says, that's the best argument ever that BYU controls their seeding. They wouldn't make it to the playoffs with their stupid schedule. Okay, so let me get this right.
This is too easy.
Anyway, good to see you, Muhammad. What do you mean they're stupid? Dude, they have one of the best schedules in the country. If you're an independent and you want a seat at the table,
The big kids club.
yeah, you want to be in the cool kids club where you get to like make money and stuff, you probably need to schedule the schedule that BYU has.
Is that a real question?
Now, you might want to recruit and develop your talent as well, which when they have 61 quarterbacks competing to start at BYU, what? It is. They have 61 quarterbacks. When Jaron Hall's about to win that job, it's Jaron Hall and everybody else.
No, it's not. Baylor Romney. Now.
Baylor Romney, you stop it. Anyway, the point is, when Jaron Hall wins that job and it's announced today or tomorrow, because the leaks are going to happen, please.
Ask Charlie Brewer.
Well, according to Witt, he hasn't, I've told everybody else but the media.
Yeah, everybody knows, and they. What was the? Hey, coach, what was the reaction in the locker room? Well, all the guys, they got behind the starter.
Supportive.
And
Yeah.
They're supportive, and it was very businesslike.
Yeah, there was a coup. Everybody wanted Cam Phoenix Rising
Yeah.
to win the job. They hate me, and I'm going to resign. What did you? Okay, what was the reaction in the locker room? Oh, the kids were pissed.
Yeah, I like football season, and all the things that go with it.
That answer is so good for everything. Hey, Coach Witt, who's your starting quarterback?
Yeah, I like football season, and all the things that go with it.
Hey, Coach, what are your thoughts on Afghanistan?
Yeah, I like football season, and all the things that go with it.
Why would you ask him what the kids' reaction was? Oh, they were pissed. Things got broken, chairs were thrown. It was really, I was quite disappointed in all the young men in that room, and we had to cut some players too.
Listen, we're in a strange time.
What did you think he was going to say? This is what, and again, this is not exclusive to Salt Lake City, but like, do you not have the fortitude to ask a question of, well, hey, coach, the question that everybody should be asking is, all right, well, you're going to announce a depth chart on Thursday. You're going to release it. What is the significance of doing that Thursday instead of today?
Yeah, I like football season and all the things that go with it.
That's the question you probably should be asking. Like, how'd the kids react? Well, they were great, and everybody walked up to the guy that is the starting quarterback, and patted him on the back. And, we sang Kumbaya as well. It was a real heartfelt moment.
Until one of us passes the fuck out.
Anyway, I'll stop. Spencer Morgan, fuck Cody. Why do you bring up Afghanistan? Spencer Morgan says Afghanistan was a mistake, and it was started by. Thank you, George W. Bush. Foreign intervention almost always goes badly. No, what goes badly is when you negotiate with the Taliban. We have a long-standing policy here in the United States of Donald Trump that we do not do what anybody else has ever done ever, so we're going to negotiate with terrorists.
Nazis.
Like, why would you negotiate with the Taliban, Dick? Like that, do you want...
Afghanistan.
So the douche canoe that is the White House correspondent for Fox knows that Donald Trump, I think it was May 1st, negotiated a May 1st deadline to be out of Afghanistan with the Taliban. He negotiated that.
Right.
The terrorists that currently control that country.
Right.
So Joe Biden comes in and completely botches the withdrawal, I agree, but says, hey, August 31st is our date. That's the date we get in a out.
Yeah.
Moves heaven and earth, and you can say whatever you want about, bodies falling off of planes and stuff. Okay, that sucks. It's a human disaster.
Afghanistan.
Not a single American death. And 70,000 people taken out of Afghanistan on American planes. Right? They've moved heaven and earth. Did they botch it? Oh, yes. Uncle Joe botched it. Grandpa Joe, he botched it too.
Yeah.
But they're doing the job. So the douche canoe from Fox News asked Jen Psaki, who is the director of communications at the White House, well, why did you negotiate and he stops. Is it the Taliban dictating American policy that you're pulling out and you're keeping the August 31st deadline? And it's like, okay, first of all, no, Joe Biden hasn't negotiated with the Taliban to the point where, dim-witted Republican senators are like, I can't believe Camel Toe Harris hasn't gone to Kabul. Like, who cares if Kamala Harris has gone to Kabul? Who cares? I don't care. I just want all Americans out of there. Now, should we have torched all our vehicles and probably done a weapons depot explosion? Yeah, we should have.
Fire and fury.
Because the Taliban are walking around with rockets, grenades, propellants that we gave to the Afghan National Army. They're controlling helicopters we gave to the Afghan National Army. Now, ain't a Taliban member smart enough to fly them.
Afghanistan.
But they're controlling helicopters and planes we gave to the Afghan National Army. I wish we had not done that. But here's the thing. Joe Biden's been president for roughly 7 months. He's unwinding a lot of the watches that guys like Obama, certainly Donald Trump. Obama, Barack. He's Donald Trump's the guy that negotiated with the Taliban. He sent Mike Pompeo to do a public press conference with the Taliban. He released 5,000 Taliban fighters, including 18 of now the top administrators in the Taliban government were all released in the Trump regime. So let's not pile on Sleepy Joe and be like, oh, well, Grandpa Joe Biden has completely, botched this thing.
Oh, what a loser!
Anyway. Spencer Morgan says, we had to negotiate with the Taliban. Well, I can stop you right there and say no.
Afghanistan.
But he continues because the outlasting of our occupying army, they learned from Russian occupation. No, what we should have done was had the balls to level the Taliban. What Barack didn't finish, Donnie should have finished, which is Barack Obama had ISIS down and out and didn't finish the job. We got comfortable when, Osama bin Laden was thrown out of the back of a frickin' ship into the ocean, never to be found again. We got comfortable when in 2011, bin Laden was dead.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, cool, let's get back on airplanes and travel the world. And then Afghanistan.
You just gave a gift to the Russians.
Right? Like, what we should have done was ended ISIS and
and fury.
ended the Taliban. You were there already.
What is the point of having this incredible, world's never seen it before military if you're not going to annihilate your enemies? If you're not going to just, with brute force, torch them?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I just sometimes I wonder what it is that we're trying to do.
What's the mission?
Listen, if you don't have the balls to finish the job, don't start the job.
Yeah.
And I understand that as a country, when we're at war, we do things that we wouldn't normally do. The cost of war is human life. It is what it is. You knew that when you went into Iraq. You knew that when you went back to Afghanistan. You knew that. When you were chasing dudes around the mountains of tunnels and caves, you knew that. And if you weren't prepared to do what needed to be done, whether you liked doing it or not, you should have been there. You should not have been there. We should never have negotiated with the Taliban. Never, ever. Because there are heads literally being thrown out of pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Because we negotiated with the Taliban. So, we can screw around with this, but come on. We'll talk about that later.
Damn it, Cody.
Meanwhile, speaking of the Taliban, we got to talk about the LA Dodgers. Wow. What?
Wow.
Afghanistan.
Wow.
Chavez, Afghanistan.
Chavez, Kabul.
Yeah, Chavez, Kabul, exactly. I hate the Dodgers. I do. So this has not been a great baseball year for me. The Cubs are pathetic. Javi Baez is sliding around everybody, including your mom, as a Met. Chris Bryant is part of one of the best stories in baseball in San Francisco. Anthony Rizzo, now that he's over COVID, because why would you get vaccinated, Riz?
Everybody gets a test.
Is playing on a resurgent New York Yankee team. Well, now, that sucks.
Yep.
So, all right, my second team is the Padres. Right? I always, kind of admired the Padres for wearing brown and sucking this bad. Well, now finally, we don't suck that bad, and we're going to take the Dodgers out this year.
Really good at getting Dodger pitchers in trouble.
Well, hell yeah, Trevor Bauer's out for the year. All right.
Yeah.
And the Padres have lost 10 of their last 12. They're done.
Biggest kick in the balls you'll ever get.
They hired Larry Rothschild, which is to say, well, you fired him because you always fire him.
Yeah.
And your pitching's a mess. Gone are the days of Mackenzie Gore and Chris Paddock as top prospects. Gone are the days that you, Darvish, would be healthy and leading your rotation. Here are the days of Kenley Jansen firing darts at the top of the strike zone and you swinging haplessly to end the game.
Oh, shit.
Here are the days of A.J. Pollock, who, the Diamondbacks didn't need him.
No.
Robbing Manny Machado of a home run that probably changed the outcome of that game for the Padres, who are still hungry for less. Okay, now I'm just being a dick. Their hashtag is hungry for more.
Pack everything up. We're out of here.
I hate
pathetic.
the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And baseball this year can end today. That would be fine with me.
This is what happens when you have a roster full of dudes that have MVP caliber talent within them at any time. And this is the thing. As soon as the Padres didn't get Max Scherzer, and didn't get Trey Turner, the season ended. It's over. And the Dodgers got those two guys, you're done. It's over.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like the Trey Turner thing. They not only got Max Scherzer in LA, they got Trey Turner too. What is there anything that good has come out of this baseball season?
Shiva, the god of death.
The White Sox are good. That's never good. That's always bad. The Dodgers are good again.
Can we go back to the Astros banging on garbage cans?
Seriously. Can we? I miss the simpler times of just hating that little midget Jose Altuve, right? I miss those days.
It became personal with me.
Yeah, of just hating everybody in Houston. That was fine. A.J. Hinch was a cheating SOB, and then he gets relegated to Detroit, where nobody wants to go, right?
What a loser!
Yeah, but then the Cubs had a fire sale, and the Padres. Mackenzie Gore has a blister and can't find his mechanics.
How?
Okay.
How? How does that even happen?
Paddock and Darvish, can't stay healthy. It's just been
It's bad, dude.
Season.
It's bad, dude.
This has been a tragic season.
Seriously, it's awful.
It is what it is.
Who's dying in the comments?
Everybody. Kenny says, I need to get up tomorrow, but I'm up at 1:16 a.m. again. Shake my head. And since you asked the last podcast, I live in New Zealand. Oh, nice.
Oh,
Kenny.
nice, dude.
We love New Zealand. Can't wait to snowboard. Bradlark says, I can't wait till NFL season starts. We're in the dead zone of sports season. Actually, we haven't had a dead zone. Thanks to the NBA, we haven't had a dead zone. Spencer Morgan says, Monty, we should have leveled them is the same thing all the old Republicans were saying during Vietnam. It's not. Vietnam and Afghanistan are completely different.
Afghanistan.
We had the job done in Afghanistan. Right? You've got the Taliban's teeth on the curb. All you need to do is raise your boot and stomp on the back of their skull.
Y'all about to fuck this up.
We didn't do that. We said, no, we can't mess up those beautiful crowns.
Let's be nice.
Those veneers are too nice. Let's help you up. We can't do that, right? Instead, we gave the Afghan National Army and police all kinds of weapons, money, and helicopters and planes. And did anybody really think with all due respect, anybody really think the Afghan Army or the Afghan police had the balls to stand and fight? No, they were never going to do that.
They were just a sub-layer of the Taliban.
Do you understand that the Taliban cuts people's heads off?
Yeah.
For fun. They sharpen their knives on your spinal cord. That's who the Taliban is.
Spinal.
Right? You need to end them. We had the Taliban dead to rights.
Yeah.
We never had control of Vietnam. Never did that. That war was
a different beast.
A completely different era of American lives. You look at what we had in Iraq and Afghanistan. We didn't finish the job in Iraq, which is where ISIS came from, right? We didn't finish the job in, Afghanistan. So the Taliban, who was there before any of us were even on Earth, is still there and is now back and better than ever because we don't finish the job. The simple truth is we don't want people locked up in prisons at Gitmo.
Too nice.
Because that's just not what people do. And we don't want to waterboard people. And you know what, man? They deserve the right to live their lives again.
My fucking ass.
Fuck that, they do. What we need to do is level those people.
I'm Shiva, the god of death.
Let me repeat, they're cutting people's heads off.
What more is there to talk about? Torch them.
And you're worried about whether or not we waterboarded those guys to get information, which I don't agree with. I would not do that. But what I'm telling you is, nobody is scared to be in American custody. How would you like to be an American in Taliban custody?
You'd live about 5 minutes.
There's a big difference there. The Taliban do not fear us. The Taliban understand, that they own the landscape. That may be true, but nobody owns the landscape against, huge bombs and airplanes and one of the finest foot soldiers in the world.
As DeAndre Hopkins said in camp all those years ago against what was the Washington Redskins, he said, "I fear God, homie." And that's what the Taliban fear. They don't fear us. They fear God.
They fear
their
Allah.
God. Yeah.
They fear Allah. That's what they fear.
Yeah.
And until you understand that, until you're willing to do what you got to do, you're never going to get done what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Period. Giggity says Padres couldn't get out of third place all season.
Nope.
The Padres are one of the most frustrating teams in baseball because, it's the way that you've handled Fernando Tatis's shoulder. A, it's the way you paid him. B, it's the way you handled the shoulder.
Which, again, I still love the fact when he signed that contract, what did we say? Oh, he's going to get hurt. You're going to pay a guy to be hurt. And Ben and Woods in San Diego, one of the best shows for Padre baseball in the country, are like, no, that's not how it's going to work. And what do we have? Shoulders, groins.
You and Woodsy kind of had a go around on Twitter about that.
Because the fact is, and again, I don't know why this conversation about the media being biased has come up so much this week, but that's just the truth. That's the truth. They cover the Padres every day, and I respect the hell out of those guys. But at the same time, you can't sit here and tell me that Fernando Tatis Jr. is not going to get hurt, because he is. That's going to happen.
Cody Strickland says the Taliban feared Trump. Ask ISIS.
Okay.
The Taliban did not fear Trump. The ISIS doesn't fear Trump. Do you understand? There's a simple truth about Donald Trump's foreign policy. He didn't drop a single bomb. Outside of the fiasco assassination in Iran, what major military action did Donald Trump take that led to meaningful progress anywhere in the world? He didn't move against anybody. If you look at the Russian, bounty system in Afghanistan, where they were paying for American lives, what do you mean they feared Donald Trump? He negotiated with the Taliban. He released 5,000 Taliban prisoners.
5,000, not 5. 5,000.
Of those 5,000, do you understand? 18 of them are now running the Taliban. The top 18 people in the Taliban, as identified by the Department of Justice, the top 18 people in the Taliban are among those 5,000 prisoners released. The Taliban did not fear Donald Trump. Stop. What action did we take? And if you look at any of the generals and any of the minds that have been controlling Afghanistan policy for the U.S. military, they are all frustrated and devastated that they were not allowed to finish the job over the last 5 years. It started with Obama, and it ended with Donald Trump announcing publicly the date that we would leave Afghanistan, which all that did was put a target on American soldiers.
Yep.
Come on. It is one of those things. Yeah, anyway. All right. We'll move on. It's not Daryl. It's not BS. It's not. Daryl says that the bounty thing is BS, Monty. It's not. Vladimir Putin has talked about this. He laughed when he was asked about it. When Trump invited him to the G7 and he was asked about it, he laughed about it. Did not deny it, laughed about it. Vladimir Putin laughed about it. It's not funny.
YouTube.com.
Come on. Anyway, I'll stop. Look, I think it is one of those things where we'll just all agree to disagree, because I'm telling you, there's one way and there's only one way. And we have been saying this since World War II. You go in and you level them. That's it.
You end it.
And everybody's dead. And people don't want to understand that. Why do you think we dropped nukes on Japan? Why do you think we did that?
To end it.
Once and for all. But we don't do once and for all in war anymore. We send in drones and we
don't. That's the biggest problem. We don't want to admit that we're at war. We just want to say we're dealing with the Taliban.
Do you understand that these are people who strap bombs to themselves?
Fear God, homie.
And cut people's heads off. I'm sorry, they're scared of who? They're not scared of you. They're not scared of Donald Trump or Barack Obama or Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Like you're insane. You know, like it just is. It's crazy to me that is the level that we're at.
Yep.
And the thing that anyway, I'll stop. Can we talk about this Rich Paul thing?
Yeah.
LeBron's agent, I don't understand this at all. I don't understand this at all. LeBron's agent is a guy named Rich Paul, his childhood friend. LeBron made possible Rich Paul. Brought him along, helped him get educated, brought him up, and it is part of the brilliance of LeBron James is that you don't go and find people to trust. You make people you trust. So when you're LeBron James and you come from nothing, you bring those people out of nothing and you build together so that the people around you are your circle and you trust them because you've known them your whole life. That is one of the unspoken success stories of LeBron James, is that he brought a lot of people in his circle up, he educated them, he got them set up to succeed, and Rich Paul and Clutch Sports is a great example of that. Well, until the Nerlens Noel situation happened. So you'll remember that Nerlens Noel turned down a huge deal from the Mavs. And people are like, you did what? And then he opted out of that deal in OKC. And according to a lawsuit filed by Nerlens Noel yesterday, Rich Paul and he ran into each other in a social environment. And Rich Paul said to him, Nerlens, you're a $100 million player. You should leave your agent. Come to Clutch Sports. LeBron's my friend. Like, come on over. So Nerlens Noel did exactly that. And never got that $100 million contract. And claims that there were multiple teams trying to get in touch with Rich Paul to offer, to offer Nerlens Noel a significant contract. And in the lawsuit, Nerlens Noel claims that Rich Paul never answered those calls, never called them back. And it costs him approximately $58 million, which is what Nerlens Noel is suing Rich Paul for. And the first question that everybody is thinking and asking, well, was LeBron James involved in any of this at all? Because it is curious that Nerlens Noel had opportunities to go get paid on other teams. But those teams would have been competitive with LeBron's teams. And I wonder, and it's just my opinion, but I wonder, is LeBron James talking to Rich Paul and being like, hey, you know, we don't want that guy going over there. Don't do that deal. Is it crazy to think that happens?
No, I don't think it's crazy at all. I think LeBron James is omnipresent. He is everywhere. He is there even when he's not, and he's able to do that by being LeBron James, number one, by being one of the best players in the league, but number two, by controlling an agent. And this is what is so fascinating to me about this situation. It's really curious. Why Nerlens Noel? Why not answer your phone? Why ghost all these teams trying to contact you? Like, why? He's been, like, Rich Paul's been a very successful agent. He's done really well. And frankly, it's kind of interesting that, you know, he made, on that one-year deal that Nerlens signed, Rich Paul made 2% of that deal. That was his commission on that deal. And after that, nothing. There was nothing. No contact, no nothing. Just fell off the face of the earth in terms of Nerlens Noel. So, I don't know. It really is curious to me, and I do think there should be some looking into this situation because it's very rare. You notice, it's funny, it's very rare that agents in the NBA get sued. We don't really hear about things like this too much unless it's Dennis Schroeder or unless it's Nerlens Noel. So it kind of begs the question, like, What's going on here?
Well, and here is really the heart of the lawsuit. According, this is at SI.com, by the way, and it's on my Twitter feed, The Monty Show, MONTY, The Monty Show. During the 2019-2020 season, Nerlens Noel thought about terminating his contract with Clutch Sports. According to the lawsuit, Noel expressed his concerns to Clutch Sports' Lucas Newton, who had told Noel that OKC was, quote, planning on offering him a 3-year deal between $7 and $10 million per season. Noel decided not to terminate his relationship with Rich Paul. However, during the 2019-2020 season, Noel, quote, later learned that the representatives of the Houston Rockets and LA Clippers reached out to Paul to pursue him, but Paul was not taking their calls.
The Clippers.
According to the lawsuit. So you have a LeBron James confidant in Rich Paul representing a guy in Nerlens Noel who is being courted by the LA Clippers, who are a main rival to the LA Lakers. They play in the same building. You have a Laker team that at that point is playing for a championship. Are you really, if you're Rich Paul and LeBron James, wanting to enrich the Clippers? Probably not. So, in my opinion, I think you have to ask how was LeBron involved in this?
Yeah.
And was he at all on any level? Has Rich Paul and LeBron James ever talked about another player and where they were headed or what Rich Paul was trying to get accomplished with that player?
Because that's illegal, 100% illegal.
But how has that not happened? I don't know that it's happened. It's my opinion, and I'm wondering aloud, how has that not happened?
Yeah.
If you're that close of friends and you have that kind of relationship, how has those type of conversations not taken place?
Yeah, I'm sure they have. I mean, I'm sure
Right?
they have. But the thing is it in writing? Is it in text messages? Is it in? Can you prove it? Those are the kind of questions you have to start asking. But I just think that I don't know, man. I saw the story and the first thing I thought was, oh, it's Rich Paul. Where's LeBron at?
But here's the more damaging conversation. According to SI.com, in November of 2020, Nerlens Noel signed a 1-year, $5 million contract with the Knicks before ending his relationship with Clutch Sports. As his frustrations built because he learned, quote, Rich Paul had a history of mismanaging and ignoring other less notable clients like Norris Cole, Shabazz Muhammad, and costing them significant money.
Now, I just want to point out, Norris Cole played with LeBron in Miami.
Yes, they did.
He has history with LeBron. Shabazz Muhammad, I don't think has ever played with LeBron. I think that's just a one-off.
But played with Nerlens. And, yeah. Paul represents LeBron, Anthony Davis, Trae Young, and many others. And earlier this month, Nerlens Noel signed a 3-year, $32 million deal with the Knicks. This is ugly. This is ugly, and it's not good for anybody. It is not good for anybody.
Yeah, it's really curious.
All right, let me get some of your comments. Jeremy Bolton says, of course LeBron did that. Brandon Whiteside says, Walmarts and Home Depots are the answer. To what? Cody Strickland says, like how Monty says, they're not smart enough to use our equipment, but they did okay on 9/11, right? Okay. God help me today, please. You don't see a difference between taking one course at a flight school in Orlando to learn how to fly a jumbo jet into a building. You don't see the difference between that and flying a highly advanced war machine like the helicopters and jets that are used in the military. You really don't see a difference between flying a helicopter that has immense weapons technology on it to flying a jumbo jet for what was reported to be less than 10 minutes into a building. Cody, if you truly don't see the difference there, I can't help you. Diego says, Monty, you're in favor of mass murder in the guise of war. No, I didn't say that. The genocides and mass murders that happen in war, I'm not in favor of any of that. But what did I say? The simple truth of war is people will die.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of innocent people will die. Everybody thinks that, hey, World War II was won by soldiers. World War II, like mass casualties on the battlefield. You realize that World War II was fought in the streets of Europe, right? You understand that? The streets of France, all throughout Europe. Listen, man, I'm telling you, I'm not in favor of any of it. But if you're going to go to war, go to war. Don't go to war to simply be at war. Go to war to win the war. Because a lot of people are going to die. An entire generation of American men are still on the battlefields of Vietnam. There's a whole bunch of people in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon. Those people are never coming home. Like, do you know how many dead bodies are still spread around Europe from war?
The world.
This is not something to take lightly or joke about. But let's be real clear. When you go to war, go to war. Do what's got to be done to meet your objective. And as a country, the United States of America didn't have the wherewithal to do that in either Iraq, in Syria, in Afghanistan, certainly. We routinely go places, wreck people's lives, and we don't do the job. We don't finish the job because we're not there to finish the job. We're there to look good. We're there to flex our muscles. We didn't want to go to Iraq to take over Iraq. We wanted to go there because we wanted revenge. Well, the problem is, what's revenge really look like? Because it was never going to be hard to get Saddam Hussein. That was never going to be difficult. It was always going to be difficult to find Osama bin Laden. Well, now you found him, and you killed him, and you dumped him off the back of a warship into the ocean. Okay, cool. Now what? Now what? What are we going to do?
Now we begin again.
And we're still at war. And people are still dying. Our young men are in the Cornwall Valley, in Afghanistan dying. And there's movies abound.
Yep.
Do we have to talk about Pat Tillman? If we had never gone to Afghanistan, Pat Tillman would still be here. Like, those stories are repeated hundreds of thousands of times. Look how many men and women came home without limbs or with PTSD or with concussions and brain damage. And if you're going to go there and do the job. I'm not in favor of any of this. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's ridiculous. Monty, a lot of that equipment isn't that hard to operate. So when's the last time you flew a helicopter, Cody? Let me know how that goes for you. When's the last time you sat in the cockpit of a MiG-29? When's the last time you 60 Minutes did an online feature about this, and I'm sure you can find it on their website. The helicopters that they use they are incredible pieces of technology.
We're not talking about Hueys anymore, dude.
No, we're talking about helicopters that you usually do not fly with your hands. You fly with your eyes and your mind. Guy, this is not something where you sit down and be like, all right, pedal the line. Do you not understand? Like, anyway, it's not worth arguing about. Getting the job like Walmart and Home Depot are ways to get these country citizens busy and not indoctrinated. I'm sure you can do that. Brylark says, I couldn't disagree with you more, Cody. Plus, those military vehicles are incredibly prone to breaking down, so sure, the Taliban might have them for the next month until they break down. Well, and that's the other issue, like the supply chain. Do you understand the money it takes just to fuel a jet craft in Afghanistan? It's incredibly expensive to fly a fuel truck from Europe, Germany, to Afghanistan. And then, by the way, you got to get the fuel there too. Like the supply chain in war is incredibly expensive. It is. You won't, and that's, I think, a great point. You won't be able to maintain those aircraft, but you will be able to maintain the cache of weapons that came with all of that as well. Like they have RPGs, they have rockets, weapons, guns, grenades, defense, like air defense units. I mean, those are the things that scare you. Like, there's so many ground deployed air defenses that, like, they have the ability to use them. So, I mean, you can't unwind the watch. It's kind of ridiculous. It just is. It's ridiculous. Giggity says, Cody, the equipment will break down. It's inevitable. Where will they get the parts? They won't have access to parts. They don't want access to parts. They just want to walk around and drive around. Do you understand that they're throwing female heads out of Humvees in the streets of Afghanistan? They're driving Humvees around Afghanistan, American Humvees, hunting people, mainly women, that helped the United States during the occupation of Afghanistan. They are finding those Afghan citizens. They are cutting their heads off, driving down the streets where they live. So imagine a car coming down your street and tossing one of your relatives' heads at your front door. Like a newspaper. They're just throwing it on the street in front of their home. That's the Taliban. That's who you're dealing with. You want to negotiate with those people? Knock yourself out. I'm not doing it. Nope. I'm not doing it. Then again, I have no tolerance to go and occupy other people's countries.
I just don't see the point.
Monty, what's going on with your bed? Well, James, what's going on with my bed is it's supposedly going to arrive today.
Allegedly.
So I bought an iSense bed, and I value my sleep greatly. And it is, admittedly, it is the nicest bed they make. It was $6,000. A little more than $6,000. And the top flexes up so you can raise your head. It's a split top. So if my wife wants to raise her head and I want to be flat or whatever, she can do that. You can control, it's much like a sleep number bed, but better. You can control the number of the firmness or the softness. I'm stoked. But because of COVID, it's taken what feels like forever to get it here.
Right.
So we're working out last night at a packed Vaza Fitness where not a single MFer was wearing a mask outside of me.
And me.
And you. 2 O's in mask, Goose. And the guy calls me and he's like, hey, can we deliver your bed tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, sure. Cool. So he's going to show up today and deliver the bed. Also, by the way, the landscaper supposedly.
Allegedly.
Note I said supposedly. Showing up today to tear apart my backyard and put down a paver patio.
In one day?
Well, in 2 days. He's supposed to be done by Friday. Good luck. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know how, does he show up today? I kind of feel like he will.
Yeah.
I've given him about $1,700. I kind of feel like he will.
Yeah. I don't think he's ghosting you. I just think he's busy.
Well, and what he said was that the rain that we've had here in the Salt Lake Valley has set him back several days.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
Yeah. Giggity says the best part of a new bed is breaking it in. Damn right. Damn right. How much is too much to pay for a bed? How much do you value your bed? You have a brand new Casper mattress.
Yeah. And I love it. I sleep great on it. I spent like $700 on it or whatever it was.
At Costco,
At Costco, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, for me, that bed works great. I'm not I don't skimp on beds. So, like, you're not going to catch me spending $6,000 on a bed, but like, I think that having a California King with a nice setup is important for sure.
Well, flat sheets are not cheap. The point is,
we have an affiliate link in the description.
By the way, I would like to point out that the flat sheet conversation yesterday dominated the comments. Thank you for that.
Flat sheets and flat wings, baby.
I think the bed is incredibly important.
Yeah, it is.
So this will be the first time I have an air chamber bed. Like right now, I have a memory foam bed, and it's been good, not great. But I'm a side sleeper. I think I'm seriously going to buy a body pillow. Okay. Like we've talked about this. And
it's better for your back, you said.
Oh, it is, totally, because it keeps your hips aligned and your knees aligned.
I broke my back.
Yeah, it's a spinal. Spinal. The point is, I'm excited about this bed. It is expensive, and it freaking better be
How long is it supposed to last?
Well, I think it's got a lifetime guarantee on it.
Oh, okay. So, well, there you go. I mean, that's awesome.
A long time. And I value my sleep. I actually got a pretty good night of sleep. Now, me and Nighttime P Guy had a couple of conversations last night. 11:55 and 2:18, I got up to go to the bathroom. But you know what? I've really changed. I've started eating more protein bars. So I've really built this nutrition plan to where I have breakfast. Like yesterday, I had cantaloupe and bananas with 2 pieces of whole grain toast. Dave's Killer Dave's seeded bread. And that fills me up until lunch. Then we work out. Then yesterday at lunch, I had some chopped up brats in a bowl of corn. And so that keeps me full. And so generally I don't eat much after 2 o'clock. And I just drink water and I eat a protein bar. And I found the one bar, by the way, there's a link in the description for the one bars. Good morning, Mrs. Monty. The one bars make a huge difference. Now that I'm eating those protein bars, I actually don't get hungry before I go to bed. And my wife constantly, basically is telling me, hey, drink more water, drink more water, drink more water.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I had about 80 ounces of water. And so I got, from Ghost Protein, I got this metal cup. Shaker cup. It's a metal shaker cup, and it keeps the water incredibly cold, and I love it. And
I just don't understand.
It helps me drink a lot more water.
Why don't you just use your canteen, though? That's the thing that I've never understood.
I'm a weirdo. So
Yeah,
right now
I don't
I'm in, oh man, my canteen's dirty. Does it ever really get clean? I'm in a weird spot with my canteen. I'm in a really weird, but I'll get over it. Now I'll use my canteen because when I use my canteen, I essentially drink 2 of those every day, 2 full ones.
Yeah.
And
it's
I'm good to
undefeated.
go.
Yeah, it's undefeated.
What is that, 70 ounces of water? I think it's 30.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, hey, Jake, where is the what a loser drop? Where did that come from? That's Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers, yeah.
Yeah, that's Will Ferrell.
Oh, what a loser!
Yeah, that's Wedding Crashers.
It's right before Will Ferrell asked Mom for the meatloaf.
Yeah. Cody Strickland says, Red Heart Norvis first. All Army has a war philosophy, and the Taliban doesn't use U.S. tactics. They don't have to operate those vehicles and equipment. Instead, they will be liquidated to fund equipment they can actually use. Hey, great. Cool. So you're saying they're going to sell them to the Iranians.
Yeah.
Brylark says the amount of flat sheets that we sent to Afghanistan is absolutely staggering. The big flat sheet companies were padding their pockets.
Afghanistan.
Do you ever think about the supply that it takes for war? I want to say that we spend $500 million a day in Afghanistan. I want to say that we spent $500 million a day in Afghanistan. Think about food, uniforms, equipment.
Yeah, and our
tires.
country's paying the price.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yep.
It's insanity. I think it is. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that all ends up. By the way, the other thing I should talk about is the Audi situation because everybody's asking me about that.
Yeah.
So it's been great. It's been great. So we're at the point now where I have to buy wheels for my car because they're going to come and get my car and put wheels and tires on it for me. Now, yesterday, I think it was, they showed up and the guy from Audi came and took one of the lock lugs off of my car, brought it back to the Audi dealership, figured out which key it was. But now I don't have one of the lugs on my back wheel, which is fine because you can drive without it. It's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
They're going to bring me normal lugs.
Today?
I believe so. I have to talk to the service lady who we're going to talk to this morning.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to get me a better deal on tires. I'm looking for a summer only tire called a Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. That she didn't have access to. But funny thing is, where does Audi buy their tires? TireRack.com.
Funny how that works.
Is their tire supplier. So I went to Tire Rack, and they're like $300 a tire. It's not that expensive at all. I thought it was going to be about $1,000.
No.
But it's not.
No.
So that's good. So it turns out the wheel I wanted, this Vossen HF3, actually I saved about $1,000 on that because the 21-inch wheel I wanted was $1,000 more.
Yeah.
But I can't get the wheel size is 21 by 9.5. I can't get that wheel because the bolt pattern for the lugs does not fit my SQ5. So I can't get that wheel.
Right.
So I got a 20 by 9, which is about $1,000 less.
Yeah.
Of the exact same wheel. It's about $1,000 less. By the way, if I wanted to have the other wheel, the 21 by 9.5,
yeah,
it would have been what did I say the price was last night? It was some stupid number, like $8,000.
Yeah, no.
Because Vossen would have to make the wheel and then drill the lugs. Yeah. It's like, nah, man, I'm good. I ain't paying that much.
Nope.
Mrs. Monty and I were looking at wheels yesterday, There was a bright pink wheel. Of course, my wife's like, "Oh, get that one." And so we looked at it, and it was $2,400 per wheel.
Yeah, and this is the thing. So I think this.
No, I said $2,400 per wheel.
Yeah, dude, it's not
for
cheap,
a bright
bro.
pink wheel.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap. And this is
Good Lord.
This is the thing that I go back and forth on owning German cars. They're
Yes.
freaking expensive, dude. In terms of modifying them, they're very expensive.
Well, if I can get out the door on this for what'll be about $4,000 to get out of, to have, I'm thrilled with that. And the other thing is I have the money to just pay for it. But it turns out a firm, do you guys know what a firm is? If you don't know what a firm is, you should find out. A firm allows me to buy those wheels and pay 0% for 12 months.
Right.
So why would I lay that money out ahead of time, all in a lump sum, when I can pay it over 12 months at 0% interest?
Right.
Now, truth be told, I'll probably pay it off in 2 months or whatever, just because I lose my patience with having to be responsible for it. But I don't have to pay a penny of interest for 12 months.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's a great deal for me. So I'm thrilled with that. And if she can get me a better price on the tires.
Yeah. Which theoretically she should be able to do.
Because what she told me yesterday, this lady at the dealership, she's like, I would not invest in a high quality, is the word she used, a high quality winter tire. She said, because all you do is beat those up and they'll last you 5 years. She said, you can probably spend about $400 on a set of all seasons and they'll last you years. As long as you're not driving on them year round. Which is exactly what I don't do. So I'm not going to invest thousands in a winter tire.
Well, the fact is winter tires aren't thousands. That's just not accurate.
But you can spend I was looking at it and I was looking at some Coopers.
Yeah. Bridgestone has the best winter tire. The Blizzaks are by far the highest performing.
But what is that tire per unit?
I don't know. It was in the 100. I think it was like 170-ish or something. I'd have to look again. I don't remember.
If you do the math, that's about $700 for a set.
Yeah.
But I can get that Cooper for $89 a tire.
Yeah. I'm not one to skimp on winter tires. I don't want to. I just don't.
Well, and by the way, we also have a Grand Cherokee. My wife drives a Grand Cherokee.
And yeah, so that's a fair point. That's the other thing you have to consider. For me, So I like driving in the snow. It's a lot of fun for me, but for you, you're just kind of, the Audi's not going to see a ton of action in the winter, I would guess.
I would not think so. And I said that to my wife the other day. I was like, well, we're going to drive your car all winter long anyway. And she's like, why? Why are we going to do that? The biggest win for my wife recently has been, she's had all these problems getting her license plate and her Jeep titled here in Utah. Because we had a dealership fiasco. So I bought my wife this Jeep, right? We buy this Jeep together, and it's not a 4x4.
Yeah.
It's a Jeep Grand Cherokee 2x. So we have to take the car back to the dealer. I got them to give me a 4x4 of the exact same Jeep. But so in all the titling, something got lost in the translation, and somebody else's name was on my wife's title. So she wasn't able to buy her license plates, all this stuff. So she's finally able to apply for vanity plates. And they turned her vanity plate down in Utah, but they sent her a letter with a number on it that said, hey, call me, let's talk about it. So she calls, and the lady's like, oh, yeah, you have to tweak it by one character, and then we can give it to you. So they apply for it, and the lady says to my wife, yeah, call me back in 4 or 5 days, and I'll confirm that it was approved for you. Wait, are you sure you work at the DMV? You're nice and you actually want to talk to me on the phone. So she calls back 4 or 5 days. She's like, oh, yeah, you're good to go. Approved. Woo!
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you serious?
My biggest complaint with the DMV is I still don't have my plates. And I'll be curious to see how long it takes her to get her plates.
Well, I got my flu game plate. I got in a month. Less than a month. I got it really fast.
Yeah, dude.
Right now, are we using COVID as an excuse not to pay human labor to do things?
I think it depends on the situation.
I wonder if we are profit-taking a little bit now on labor. Because license plates, especially vanity plates, are never going to be a priority. They've got a case and cases of numeric plates that they just hand you over the counter when you register your car.
Right.
But to get a vanity plate, to get that specially made, it's been 2 months about for you, right? How long has this been?
is empty.
Yeah, it's empty.
Yeah.
How long has it been?
I don't even know at this point. I think it's
been at least 6 weeks.
It's been at least 2 months. Yeah. I want to say, I don't know. I want to say it was like May. I feel like, but I don't know. I don't remember.
The Nye guy says, "Sorry to tell you, Jake, but Ass Man is taken."
Yeah, I don't have ass, man. Sorry, man.
Yeah, he doesn't have ass. Period.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't do that. If Jabba the Hutt decides to run in 24 and he wins, this country will 100% be screwed. I'm not in the mood today.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
what
just
this is. I gotta be
like,
honest with you. I am not in the mood for Donnie and Afghanistan stupidity.
Yeah.
Like it is when there's. How do I put this correctly? When it's an important political conversation, I have very little wherewithal for stupidity.
Yeah.
Like not that you guys are being stupid, but I just don't have I put a lot of time and effort into knowing a lot about politics. I spend way too much of my life. And me and my wife probably talk about it, I don't know. What do you think? Every day, at least we have one conversation about it.
That's every day.
We watch the news together. We watch like all kinds of opinion shows together. Like we talk about this stuff, like Delta variant.
Yeah.
All these people that are like, "Oh, Delta variant's no big deal." What? It's no big deal.
And then you're laying on the floor waiting to get treated. Nice job, guys.
Like it's crazy.
Nice job.
And I just don't like the whole thing. Like the thing I don't understand is walking around the gym and you feel like people are cutting you dirty looks because you're wearing a mask.
I don't feel like it. I know they are.
Like what? But why do you care if I wear a mask? Why is it like that's the kind of stuff that I have no tolerance for. Like whether the guy runs up to me at the gym the other day, and I don't know, maybe I'm a magnet for this shit. I have no idea. But like people staring at us, like there was a guy at Vaza on Saturday morning, I think it was, or whenever it was.
Yeah.
We were working out. Our Vaza has this turf square where you can like do core and stuff. And these people were like looking at us and laughing, essentially. And like talking about masks and coronavirus. And then the guy was like looking at us and it was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, they'll look, but they'll never ask.
Like, why do you, like that stuff drives me crazy. And we're at the gym last night and you actually lost your ass a little bit on me a little bit. Because it's incredibly uncomfortable for me to be in that gym when it's busy. Life happened yesterday, so we couldn't work out at lunch. So we worked out after dinner last night or after work was over last night. And we went there to do legs. So we go to the big Vaza to do legs because they have a leg press and they have all the equipment you need. The gym at your condo does not.
Right.
So it's packed. And you knew walking in there at 6:45, it's going to be packed. So what we wound up doing was core, not legs. But it was really uncomfortable for me. I had anxiety about it. And I very rarely have anxiety about anything. Like, I don't get nervous or I really don't. Last night, I actually had anxiety being in that gym. And you were like, get over it.
Well, I just
like
think
you're
at some
vaccinated
point,
and you have a mask.
yeah, like at some point, you've done everything you can. Like what is the point of wearing a mask if you're going to walk around in fear around people?
It's not that I'm in fear.
Well, okay, where does anxiety come from?
It's uncomfortable.
Because you're scared of getting coronavirus, which is not unfounded.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
it's
I don't
not
know.
dumb, but...
But you know what the thing is? Like Harmon's, my wife came home from the grocery store the other day.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, they changed the sign out front of Harmon's.
To say what?
And it says something like all unvaccinated people need to wear masks.
Masks are recommended
for everybody. But here's the thing. Like, how do you know who's vaccinated and not vaccinated?
It's the alliance of the unvaccinated. Like, it's the honor system.
Cole Beasley, the Buffalo Bill wide receiver. Star Lotulelei, the Ute alum, unvaccinated. Cole Beasley, unvaccinated. They got sent home from Bills camp yesterday because a trainer for the Bills, who works with both of those players very closely, tested positive for coronavirus. So they had to send Cole Beasley and Star Lotulelei, who, by the way, Star didn't play last year because he made a personal decision that wasn't the right thing to do for him. Didn't get vaccinated.
Don't feel sorry for you, dude.
Now he got exposed to coronavirus.
Huh. It's funny how that works.
Like all of these people that continue to say it's a hoax. Marjorie Taylor Greene at it yesterday saying it's a violation of our rights and it is oppression of our children not to be able to see their teachers' faces. It's oppressive and scary. That's why we can't have masks in school. Marjorie Taylor Greene said it's oppressive and scary that a child should have to get educated by somebody wearing a mask. Okay, then, hey, asshole, why don't you go be a teacher then? Go be a teacher. Be a substitute teacher for a day. You stand in that classroom where all the kids are unvaxxed and not wearing masks. And you can't put a mask on.
Cool.
How is that going to go for you?
And you don't have good benefits. You're not paid any money.
And by the way, you're probably vaccinated, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know that to be fact, but my guess is you are, because you're a congressperson, and all Congress people had to be vaccinated, right? I look at the guy in Arkansas. Look at Kentucky, Rand Paul. Rand Paul. So again, and I'm not trying to be like Mr. Over the Top, every Republican's a dick, but pretty much every Republican's a dick. Because look at Rand Paul ripping Anthony Fauci. Oh, you're an extremist and you're trying to control our country with these masks, and I'll never allow kids in Kentucky to wear a mask to school. Kentucky is now the new hotbed spread for COVID. By the way, anybody see Florida? Ron DeSantis, unequivocally anti-mask. Unequivocally anti-mask. Downplaying the efficacy of vaccines. There were more deaths per day in Florida right now than there was at any other time in the coronavirus. In Florida, not in New York, not in Utah, not in California, in Florida. And why is that? Because you're not allowed to wear masks. You're not allowed to mandate masks in Florida. And so the spread is uncontrollable.
Yep.
Just running its way.
You want to have a problem with people dying in war? How about we have a problem with people dying at home?
Yeah. You know, yeah. Kids could care less about masks until their parents plant a bug in their heads. Yeah, you can't tell me that a 15-year-old teenager cared about masks until dad said, don't wear a mask. Like, and again, I'll just tell the story, that kid that came up to me and said, should I wear a mask at school? Like talking about my pink Nike shoes, my Joyrides. I'm wearing a mask at Costco a couple of weeks ago, whenever this was. And the kid's like, hey, should I wear a mask at school? My mom says she'll ground me if I do. And it's like, dude, what are we doing? Anyway.
Being dumb.
Anyway, so yes, I'll talk about my vet before we get out of here because we got to go too. So I did take my dog to the vet yesterday. Well, more succinctly, Mrs. Monty took the dog to the vet yesterday.
Okay, is the dog still alive?
Yeah, and his butthole's intact.
Okay, good. Okay.
They stuck many objects in his butt.
He is a sick puppy.
They actually didn't, probably. They vacuumed the glands around his butthole. So what's better, butthole or anus?
Butthole. Butthole is definitely an all-time term.
Yeah. Okay, so they vacuumed out his butthole.
Think that's HIPAA?
I'm sorry, Rhino. I'm violating your HIPAA rights here. They vacuumed out his butthole. And then the vet calls us, right? Like I'm working at the Yelpatory. Mrs. Monty's working in her tech job and whatever. And I hear her say, well, I'm going to put you on speakerphone. My husband's right here.
Uh-oh.
And so automatically I'm thinking, your dog's dying. It's going to be $1 million to sever his toenail. I'm like, okay. So the guy's like, hey, we should do a chest x-ray. I hear a heart murmur. And we should do all these tests, and there's nothing wrong with your dog.
This is a code 10 abort.
But we should check and make sure there's nothing wrong with your dog so that we can charge you $1 million for clipping his nails. So essentially, we went to the vet because my dog had a bout of lethargy, like on the 4th of July. We had some people over. It is what it is. And we were smoking, and my dog licked a bunch of grease off the ground from the smoker because I had dropped a pan of bacon and almost burned my leg off, which would have been cheaper to fix than sending my dog to the vet.
Stop being a pussy.
Yeah, I'll stop. My bad. Screw you. So he licked a bunch of bacon grease off the ground, and it crushed him for like a week. So the vet says, well, that was probably a bout of pancreatitis, because when you give dogs fatty meat, it really impacts them. So if you see him barfing after eating fatty meat, it's pancreatitis.
Which he did.
And then he was lethargic for a week, and now he's fine. So we can't give him fatty meat, and we really don't. We've stopped giving him table food of any kind, really. So that's fine. The anal gland thing, his butthole was just swollen from those glands that they have around their butts. They vacuum those out. He's fine. He actually isn't licking his ass anymore all day long. I mean, literally, my dog was sitting around like hiding in under blankets so he could eat his ass because it itched so much.
Who does that?
And they're like, hey, by the way, we need to do a chest x-ray. He has a heart murmur. And we were like, nah, we're not going to do that. He doesn't show any symptoms of congestive heart failure. Like he runs around, he plays, he eats like a horse. So we didn't do that, but we agreed that, hey, do a bunch of blood work. And if there's anything in the blood work, then we'll do x-rays and we'll get deeper. So he gave him a rabies shot, gave him some other, I guess, shots he was due for, trimmed his nail, vacuumed his butthole, and Rhino came home none the worse for wear. And it was about, how much was it? It was about a couple $100. It was like $4, something like that.
And we have results coming in today for his blood.
Yeah. So to get your butthole vacuumed at the vet, it's like $400. And then his blood work will come back today.
So that's not bad.
And then there's Hawaii, by the way. Then there's Hawaii.
Is it canceled yet?
Eric C. says, effing Texas, LOL. Isn't Utah Hispanic population growing? What's funny? We were talking about this the other day, me and my wife. It's actually nice to see a little diversity in this town. I don't know that I would say the Hispanic population's growing. I think the LGBTQ community certainly is growing. I think the explosion of young people and independence is growing. But I don't know if the Hispanic population's growing. There's a significant Hispanic population here in Utah. $4, huh? That's the price of a Monty quality hoodie. Jeremy,
we're trying here. Work with us.
Under $1,000 is a successful vet trip, Giggity says.
Yes.
Amen to that,
Yes,
dude.
it is.
Amen to that. Do you know how much money I have put out in the last couple of weeks?
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
God almighty.
I don't know.
Like, this has been stupid expensive. Good thing I'm a millionaire. Anyway, I'm not Tanner Plummer. I'm not.
1%er.
So real quick on Hawaii before we get out of here.
Yeah.
We're supposed to go to Hawaii.
Note he said supposed to go.
Supposed to go. Supposedly we're going to Hawaii. The governor of Hawaii said, we don't want people coming here right now. Delta variant is exploding across the islands and ravaging Oahu, specifically Honolulu. We don't want people traveling here. Well, there you go. So for the third time, it looks like we may have to cancel our trip. So then Mrs. Monty, who is the Monty family travel agent, starts doing some research. And actually, if you there's some documentation you can get where you send in your Vax card, and you can actually travel there safely. But I'm telling you, Hawaii's a mess right now. And I really, really, really want to go.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's the right thing to do to go. I work Hawaii for Yelp. That's one of my territories. And people there say that the biggest concern is that their hospitals are not overrun right now. But they're concerned with travel and tourism, people getting sick when they're on the islands, and then overrunning their hospitals.
Yeah.
Do you think we go to Hawaii in 3 months? We have about 90 days.
I don't know, man. It's not looking great. It's not
I think
looking
we'll go.
great.
I think we'll be able to go. The Delta variant globally, by the way, is plateauing. So we're not seeing the incredible spikes every single day around the world that we were seeing. So I think we're going to see as we go through September. By the way, my wife's birthday is in like a week.
Yeah.
Week and a half. Now I got to spend more money on her. Man, my wife literally is just an absolute cash vampire.
Biggest kick in the balls you'll ever get.
I mean, my God, she's the one that bought tires, a backyard, getting more tattoos Saturday.
You are what you are.
Okay, so anyway, the point is, my wife's expensive. She did buy us a $6,000 bed.
I thought it was 8,000.
No, 6.
Oh, 6.
8, no. God, no.
I'm just asking.
No.
I don't know, dude. I'm not a bed expert.
My wheels are $8,000.
Oh,
Anyway,
my bad. My bad. Sorry, my bad.
They're not. I'm kidding. And my wife's over there like, God damn it, more money on a car? Why? It just sits in the garage. You fart on the driver's seat. And that's all we really do with cars. Anyway, my wife is not a car modder. Should we go to Hawaii?
Should we? I
Yes.
mean, yeah, we should. But will we? Probably not. I mean,
Fisher, whose comment got redacted and asked if I want to. Well, no, I can't approve that comment. But he basically says, go to Hawaii. They need the money. Actually, it's not like that in Hawaii. They don't want your money. They want your respect.
yeah.
Because they know if you show up and you're disrespectful, well, they're probably going to drown you. But so many people go to Hawaii and just don't respect the land. There's a lot of sacred ground in Hawaii, and people just like use it as a tourist spot. Oh, look at this gravestone. And it's like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
So you have to respect the land in Hawaii very, very much. And, like it's funny, Deadliest Catch right now,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it is.
But there's a show with Josh Harris and Casey, it's his co-captain, and they're sport fishing in Hawaii as a business. And one of the guys that they work with is Hawaiian. And he was telling Casey, hey, you got to stop talking in a fake Hawaiian accent because it pisses me off. And actually, it's embarrassing to me. And it's like, I hate people that are like, will go over to Hawaii or like they think they know everything about Hawaii, like this Casey guy. And so all of a sudden everything's bruh and bro, and then you're talking in a fake Hawaiian accent and trying to use Hawaiian terminology, and you're not Hawaiian. Don't use Hawaiian terminology.
All you have to do is talk normally and say aloha. That's it.
That's it.
That's literally it.
I
It's
got
not hard.
schooled on aloha versus mahalo.
Okay.
Mahalo is essentially goodbye.
Thank you.
And aloha is hello. Now, aloha can be goodbye as well, as it was explained to me by a painter in Honolulu the other day. The guy's like, I said in an email I put at the end, I said mahalo to him. And he said, I appreciate you using that word correctly. That's the only reason I'm talking to you. And I was like, okay, cool, man. And he goes, aloha means hello and goodbye, but mahalo really isn't, as my wife just said in the background. It's gratitude. Thank you.
So what's the gratitude for getting the guy started?
Well, hey, man, mahalo for that credit card, bro. He's doing great, too.
All right.
He is
It's all
doing great.
right. It's all right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's a grind. Tanner Plummer says, if you guys go to Hawaii, can I come? No. Tanner wants to hang out. And the
Is
question
Tanner a
is,
Utah guy?
I don't know. Tanner, are you
Yeah,
in
where
Salt
are
Lake
you,
City?
where
I
are you
have no
at,
idea.
Tanner? Yeah.
No, man. Like, no. You're not coming to Hawaii with us.
Also,
No.
still no update from Growcock on the Xbox.
Growcock! Remember when Madonna went to England for like a day and then she had an accent? Haha, good times.
Remember when following
There you go.
around the Queen of England was our biggest problem?
Yes, I do. Tanner Plummer says, yes, I'm a Utah guy.
Nice, dude.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice. I'm not opposed to meeting people. We go and drop off stuff, but it's coronavirus. So I'm not, with all due respect. Tanner's throwing a fit. He's like, why can't I come? Because
The coronavirus.
It's called vacation and coronavirus. Okay? I mean, I like you.
It is what it is.
I don't know you. And you're an Eagles fan, so there's not much to like on the surface.
Who the f*** is that guy?
But, Cody says in 3 months when COVID will get really bad. What's going to happen in 3 months? Hopefully, by the way, vaccination rates are way up.
Well, yeah, now it's FDA approved, so you can't use the government as an excuse.
Yeah, by the way, you're a Johnson & Johnson guy. And
Johnson!
And they are now saying that they need all of the J&J customers who got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine need a booster.
I want it.
Yeah,
So,
give it to me, bro.
yeah,
I'm good.
I actually
Go.
reached out to my doctor at the U yesterday. And I asked him about the Pfizer booster. He said, we don't have access to it yet. When we do, hit us back and we'll get it taken care of. So I'm really hoping that happens. Jeremy Bolton says, question is, who likes the Eagles?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Come
Giggity says, Tanner, if you can't come, you should go see a doctor. See what he did there? It's
Put it all together,
literally.
Yeah.
The girl Jake sent the breakup text to is actually Tanner's sister, and she just wants to get close enough to get revenge. That's the real reason.
What's an erection?
Have you seen 305 or heard from her?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. She's a child, as I said.
Okay. Jeremy Bolton says, maybe talk to Growcock about coming, Tanner. Wow.
Yeah, hey.
Good Lord. Why should I go see a doctor? Well, if you have no, I'm not playing.
We're getting somewhere.
No, I'm not going to filter into this. We should go. By the way, what's going on with the sneakers app?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
There are no Jordan releases.
What's going on with the real estate market?
Guy, don't start. Like I feel like I'm crabby today.
You are crabby today.
This Afghanistan war thing really pissed me
I
off.
hate talking about it. Yeah, it's brutal.
Cody, you ruined the show. Anyway, you didn't ruin the show. Okay, we're gonna play the music. I don't know why the sneakers app hasn't been lit this week.
Sometimes you gotta take a break, you know.
I have no idea. By the way, my wife bought me a thermometer. This.
Okay, stop the music. Stop the music.
This Nicetech thermometer. My wife bought this for me on Amazon the other day for the smoker.
Can you get it out of the box?
It's difficult. But my wife bought me this Nicetech thermometer the other day, and it's awesome. Like I have one, but it's for indoor cooking. This one is specifically made for outdoor, like instant temperature reads, and it has all kinds of settings.
Yeah, it's great for sticking in the butt, right? On the Traeger.
Okay.
What?
Why do you say things like that?
Like what? What are you talking about?
Anyway, there's a link if you want to get one of these. They're amazing. There's a link to it if you're a smoker guy. Who was the bacon guy last night?
Ty Duke.
Ty Duke, yes. Ty Duke made bacon
Honest
on the
Traeger.
smoker.
Honest Traeger.
And I just dropped everything on the floor. Honest Traeger. You should do that. Okay, you can play the music. But there's a link to this thermostat, this thermometer rather, in our thermostat thermometer, same thing. No, it's actually
not really not. No,
totally different units.
No,
Thank you.
No.
There's a link to the thermometer in at the bottom of our description here on YouTube. Appreciate your patronage. Until tomorrow, make sure you hit subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. If you're watching the show, we appreciate a like. Helps the channel grow. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.